You know, the story always starts out the same when I hear people talk about how they learned that they were with a narcissist, like in a romantic relationship. They all talk about that they were great, and then as they started learning that narcissist, that's when the mask came off. And it's so hard to let that narcissist go. And the reason why it's so hard for people to let go of the narcissist when they have had a relationship with them is because and because I fell in the trap too, we are still in love, or were in love, or had that idea with someone who doesn't even exist. That person you dated that you thought was so wonderful in the beginning, bringing you flowers, picking you up, taking you out on dates, going on vacations, and them telling you how wonderful you are. They never felt like this before until they met you, and they've been waiting forever to find you, and they want to marry you, and they just keep talking about how great you are. And it's just really talking you up. And it's almost like unreal, like, wow, this person really exists. And you fall for it because they stay consistent. They call you all the time, and they want to check in on you. And you just think, wow, this is great. So, but what that narcissist is doing, it's waiting to hook you emotionally. That's what they're waiting on. They're waiting to have that response from you where they feel like, okay, I got that person, I got them. And that's when they start showing off. Is when they know that they have hooked you and reeled you. And then you're blindsided. You're like, what happened to that person I was dating? They totally switched. And it's almost like you just can't even get your brain to register it. And you're still having those feelings with someone that never existed. And that's what kind of helped me get out of my relationship is realizing that man that pretended to be a man of God. He pretended that I was the best thing ever that happened to his life. He called me all the time, and he always was giving me like compliments and talking about how much he missed me and always thinking about me. And you know, it was so nice to hear someone say that, you know, about me. And this narcissist that did that to me, he was a Christian. And those Christian narcissists are the absolute worst. And I'm going to talk about my experience, my testimony with him, but I'm going to wait for a different time to make a video about that, because I don't want to make this video solely about that. But just to kind of tell you, he just made me feel like this is it. And this guy wanted to marry me and everything. And then I got the discard, and I kind of knew it was over. There's subtle things that he was doing that made me realize he's not going to marry me, because he wanted to marry me, and I just knew that he wasn't going to go through with it. But I'm going to make a video about it. I'm going to make a series about it and go into details about it. So anyway, but that's who we fell in love with, that person, that imaginary person.
I'm gonna need a narcissist translator, please.
Flying on the plane with you guys?
So am I standing?
Whoa. I need an ice pack. You just stepped on a freaking foot.
Hello friends, it's me. Today we're gonna be watching this crazy video that just went viral about this guy and his imaginary wife.
Let me get this straight. I'm not trying to make fun of you, Paul. Where's your wife at?
She is right here.
Your wife is right there.
She's right here.
Which one? The blonde right there at the other gate? No, it's actually the particles of air right beside me.
Paul has requested a pre-board pass for his wife.
And Linda's right here.
Yeah, she's standing right here.
He wants to get her a pre-board pass so she can board early. Sir, your wife is invisible. If not invisible, imaginary. You got scammed. Why'd you even buy her a ticket? You could've just, shh, hush, hush. Just get on the plane for free.
I checked in at the self-check-in. We always
So you
check in
never
at
showed
self-check-in.
anyone her ID?
No.
Does she have an ID?
Well, she has her ID, but you have to ask her. That's for her.
She has an ID, of course she does. You ask her. Why? Can't you talk to her? Honey, whip out your ID. It's not that hard.
Linda, can I see your ID?
She left it in her bag.
And he replied a little too quick. He didn't even give her time to respond. That leads me to believe that they are communicating telepathically. Like, look.
Linda, can I see your ID?
No, it's actually in my
She
bag.
left it in her bag.
And when they know that they hooked you and got you, that's when they start treating you terrible, you know? And that's why everybody else gets to see their good side. But the reason why they treat us so bad or have treated us so bad is because they can. Because they were waiting for that moment that you were pressed for them. Also, narcissists gaslight you for multiple reasons. But in the early stages of like dating in your relationship, and they're trying to gauge where you are with them emotionally, they have to do subtle gaslights to figure that out. And let me give you an example of that. Let's just say Tom was supposed to call you at 5 o'clock. He's like, hey, Nancy, I'm going to call you at 5, when I get off work. And then 5 comes around, you don't hear from Tom. Then 6, still no Tom. Then 7, 8, 9, 10, still no call from Tom. So you're thinking, oh, well, what happened? So you're in your mind thinking, should I call him just to see how he's doing? Or or should I just not do anything? Like, you're trying to think of how you're going to respond because you're expecting to hear from Tom. But Tom knows that you're expecting to hear from him, and he will purposely not call you because he wants to see how you respond. So the next day when he calls you sometime in the afternoon and he's like, hey, it's Tom, he wants to see how you respond to that. Are you going to be upset? Are you going to question him? Are you going to ignore that he didn't call you at 5? He needs to see where you're at. And gaslighting helps that narcissist know how close they are in hooking you emotionally. And they'll do little subtle things to get you jealous, to see what type of a person you are. Are you easily jealous? Are you having self-esteem issues? And that's when they'll start talking about you like, oh, your hair probably looks better down. You always wear your hair up. Have you ever wore it down before? They'll just start doing little things and it just builds up. And so I just want to, kind of tell you guys that gaslighting has multiple purposes, and they need to always have that temperature gauge of your emotions, and gaslighting you helps with that. And it happens with family members too. That's why you'll have family members that are supposed to be really close to you. They'll talk to you any kind of way, but they won't do that to the other family members or other people, because they know no matter how much they show off in front of you or with you and disrespectful to you, that you're still going to love them anyway. And you've already demonstrated that because you're always doing for them constantly. And when you're doing things for them, you're doing it from the heart. You're taking them to the hospital. You're picking them up from the hospital. And when they're at home, you're helping them recover from the hospital, feeding them, making their meals, helping them to the bathroom, whatever. You're doing all these things, and you're when their back hurts, you you buy them the little massager, the things that help you. I mean, I've experienced that too, because I had a person that is a family member that I loved. I love the most in the world, and I still love that person, but I no longer can put myself with that person because of the lack of respect, and because it doesn't matter how much love I show them, they still disrespect me. And I've given that person the most. I've taught them how to be a good person, you know, how to maneuver through the world and be honest, be kind, and considerate to other people. And when someone tells you something private, you keep it to yourself. I don't care if you guys fall out, you don't go telling people their business. You know, I try to be good to that person in all categories. I'm not saying I'm not without fault, but my point is, when someone knows that you love them so much that they know that they can get away with treating you that way, and that you're gonna stick around, and you're gonna deal with it. And there has to be a tipping point where we stop dealing with that type of nonsense. And I have reached my tipping point where I'm no longer going to accept that. But other people still probably need more time to process it. But I just want to, you know, tell us, the community, we are in love with an imaginary person. And if you really think about that, it's very sobering. Matter of fact, the guy I was just telling you about that I was dating, I started doing a background check on him, and he was an actor. And that's why I'm going to talk about him, and but not in this video. But he was an actor, so I was in love with an actor that just pretended to be the man of my dreams.